Okay, I got the foundation of the greenhouse pretty much squared away. Everything's tied together, level and square. My yard, nothing's level, so the top end had to be dug down, and as you can see, the lower end is up off of the ground. I could have dug the top a little bit deeper, but I didn't want the top of my 4x4s underground. So I'll just backfill the low end with what I dug out of the top end. The corners I rabbited, cut out 1.5 inches on the end boards, and then 5 exterior screws into each end. The lower end, where it's elevated, I dug a post hole and took a 2-foot section of treated 2x4, and then that'll be concreted in. That's on both of the lower end corners. That's mainly, since it's elevated, that'll give it a better foundation other than just a little bit of dirt that's going to be under it. And it'll also give it wind resistance. The upper end, I dug one central post hole, and I'll put a anchor bolt into that after I put up a wall. I'll show you that later, but this is the progress so far. Okay, we got the concrete poured at both of the back corners. I leveled out the dirt on the inside, and then I decided I'd put me a small layer of gravel inside, mainly to combat the mud. As you can see, I didn't put anything around the rear hole. Like I said, we'll throw a anchor in there once the wall goes up, but right now it's coming along pretty well. Okay, we've got the rear wall and one side wall up. The large holes on top will be what the windows will fit into. The small ones on the bottom will have some sort of siding or something like that on them. I've not quite decided what I'm going to do yet. I know somebody may mention the lack of jack studs or something like that underneath the windows, but that's why I shot that little clip. Everything's put together with 3.5-inch exterior screws, so this being a greenhouse, I don't think it needs that extra little bit of support. Okay, now we have the bottom plate of the back wall on top of the 4x4 that served as the foundation. Here is the hole, and what we're going to do is, I've already drilled a hole all the way down through both of them, and I have an anchor bolt here. My local store was out of the actual bolts, or actual anchor bolts, so I just took a carriage bolt, welded a piece of scrap metal to it, and it'll do just fine. But it'll go down into the hole, and then you'll work it up through the hole, and then put a big washer and a nut on it, pour your concrete, and that serves as your anchor on the center section of the rear wall. We've got the first 3 windows in. Just wanted to stick those in, see how they fit, make sure all the holes were as they should have been, and they were. Just moving right along. Okay, I finally decided what I'm going to do with the walls. As you can see there, I just used pallets that I had cut to length and nailed up and down. And as you can see on the end wall there, where the hammer is laying, I actually went through and put in some nailers. The pallet pieces are about 36.5 inches long on mine, so I wanted a little bit of something there in the middle to stabilize it a little better. The only reason they're offset is just to make it easier and quicker to nail them up. But that's where we're at. Okay, we've got our windows in, the doors in, the skirting around the bottom is filled in, and there's a partial roof on now. As you can see, I strung a 2x4 across the middle for added support. I blocked in the ends to make that more airtight. I'll probably end up caulking around those 2 joints after the fact. You can see on this side how wide open it would have been had we not used that. The material for the roof is clear corrugated polycarbonate. That's the most expensive part of mine. 3 12-foot sheets cost around $100 to roof this, but it's well worth it because it's UV rated. It'll last several years in the sun. I've used it before and had good luck with it in other applications. We're putting it down with the grommeted or the washer, nylon washer screws. These work really well. They're waterproof, do a good job. There's different colors. These are just leftovers from a previous job. And then I'm using the foam filler for the top and the bottom to try to keep this as airtight as possible, keep the heat in and the cold out. At first my plans initially was to do like a board and batten or a Jenny Lynn type finish on the skirting of the greenhouse, just to fill in the cracks in between the boards, but these boards are so small and the thickness varies. I've just decided to caulk in between all the joints and just leave it at that. So all the skirting and stuff got put up. Yeah, this would be fine if you wanted to leave it as is, but yeah, it's a little rough looking. I decided that I would put some sort of trim on it, and right here's what I've got going right now. All it is more pallet pieces. This one is 2 inches wide, and I just liquid nailed it and tacked it up with the top of it even, you know, with the pallet pieces. It's running vertical, and then once that's in place, this upper piece is just a piece of pallet ripped down to 1.5 inches, and seems to be turning out pretty good. It looks pretty good. You know, it's not perfect, but you know, it looks a little better than what it would had I left it that way. The trim on this side's actually done, but then you know, it leaves the windows, and you know, that looks pretty tacky. So I decided to go ahead and put some trim around those. It's 1.5 inches ripped, tacked in place between each window and above them, and I think it just gives it a cleaner look, and it really look pretty good once everything gets painted. Okay, we've still got a few cracks and stuff to seal up. You can see the light through those. Also, I've still got this one side open that I've not even got a chance to close in after I finish the roof. But you can see the icicles hanging. When I left the house earlier, the thermometer was showing 32 degrees. And even with all the open areas we have and nothing to retain heat, inside the greenhouse right now it's 48 degrees. So we're doing pretty good, even though we're not even through yet. Alright, we've got the first coat of paint on, and I think it looks pretty daggone good. My main concern was functionality, not aesthetics, but it really doesn't look bad at all. The pallet boards, you know, kind of blend together pretty well. I mean, it, you know, from a distance you couldn't even tell that it wasn't solid sheeting. We're getting pretty close, but just wanted to show you progress so far. Okay, for the shelf, I used treated 2x4s for the front and for the rear stringers. Then I just used the pallet boards once again to use as deck boards on the top, as well as pallet boards for the support legs in the center. The legs are just to help hold the weight, keep it from sagging, you know, with all the trays, especially when they're freshly watered. Treated lumber would probably have been a better choice for the for the deck boards. It would last a lot longer, but for me, these were free. And if they have to be changed in a couple years, 3-4 years, with more free boards, that's not a problem. I just put a couple of staples in each end of the board just to keep it from sliding around. The weight of the trays will be on the boards themselves. The staples is just to keep them in place.